Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. I've been thinking recently about my ancestry. Yes, I know I'm Brazilian, and some can say that I'm of Brazilian ancestry because if I go far back on my parents and grandparents, I can see up to 5 generations in which everybody is Brazilian. Everybody comes from the same place. I'm talking about on my state, a radius of 50 km, 5, 6 generations of my family, everybody comes from the same place. However, I'm certain I'm not 100% Brazilian indigenous, right? And I should be a bit, but not 100%. And where did my ancestors came from before arriving in Brazil, like 300 years ago? I can make a very well educated guess about that, but I'm not sure 100%. And a lot of people ask me about this and I don't know how to answer. Luckily, there are companies that can help with this question. Companies like 23andMe, Ancestry, or MyHeritage, they make ancestry reports. And they don't only offer those services. What they offer is they can get you ancestry reports to tell you where your genes come from, where your family comes from, map your family tree. They can also help you finding relatives based on their DNA. They offer some not so useful reports, or trait reports, knowledge reports, they'll just skip for now. And they also offer very interesting information about your risk of diseases based on your genetic code and your carrier status, which genes you can pass with diseases or conditions to your children. And I'll talk about how they work, how accurate they are, and the risks. So how do they work? They basically get your DNA from your cells, they throw it into a black box, a system that's well used in the industry, and the end result of that is a string of letters, the nitrogenous bases, A, G, C, and T. A whole string of that is your DNA. And as humans, we all share more than 99% of our DNA. But there are a few parts of this DNA string that is individual. That is what defines us as individuals. So there are around 1,000 parts of that they know of, and they isolate these parts, and that's your genetic information that they consider. So how does it work for finding an ancestry report? They basically find families from different parts of the world who are guaranteed to be on these places for a long time. Let's say a family that's been in England for 1,000 years, and they use these families as references. Like, this is the English DNA for the past 1,000 years. And they have the same thing for different parts of the world, and they take these 1,000 pieces of your variant DNA that it's individual and compare with the DNA of these reference families. And they see for each of these parts, which one they match most. So if you have 1,000 pieces and 900 match more closely to England DNA and 100 match more closely to German DNA, they'll say you're 90% English and 10% German. That's how it works for ancestry. And for diseases, it works by taking the medical literature, seeing the genes that are associated with certain diseases, like you have the adult onset vision loss that is associated with the variants RMS2 and CFH of these variants of these genes. And if your DNA has these present, they say, okay, you have a high chance of having adult onset vision loss. That's how it works. And how accurate it is. For the risk of diseases and the carrier status, they're probably very accurate. They are as accurate as the medical literature tells. But the process that they use are very good and very accurate. So the accuracy limitation is on the genes themselves, what we know about the genes. So they might be 60% accurate, 80% accurate. I don't know, depends on the disease, but it's variable information. And how is the ancestry accurate? It depends, and it's very hard to give you a number because the accuracy varies greatly with the source of the genes. Like they choose families as the reference genes from a certain part of the certain population in the world, but we can't really tell if these genes are actual good representatives of the genes of the whole country. And we cannot confirm that these families have been there for the past 300, 500, 1,000 years. Like we don't have a time machine, we can't go back in time. And they also use a matching algorithm. The genes might be a bit ambiguous and they have to assign you to somewhere. So this might have an error. And it's well known that they are more accurate if you have European ancestry and they're not from an ethnic group inside of a country, because there are thousands of reference groups in the world and these companies don't have the means to get the reference from them all. So they choose a few of them, dozens of them, to map their reference panel. And what are the risks? In my opinion, it's mostly about privacy. I've written the privacy statement of 23andMe, and I'm assuming here that they are a company that's trustworthy and they're doing their best to honor the privacy statement, and also the US government will make sure they do. So the highest risk here is just if you, as a user, take your gene code and publish that on a public database. So just avoid that and the privacy concerns should be fine. To conclude, I'm looking into this. I think the risks are easy if you don't publish your own information online. And I'll be doing my test soon and I'll review the results on NightSpeech later here at Cloverleaf. Thanks to you, Madam Toastmasters.